It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley. As we begin a Monday, which is basically just a continuation of our last hour on Friday, it all just kind of melds together now. Gary, how are you?
Well, I'm just glad that the incoming president, President Trump, has in the last hour or so tapped Tom Homan as the border czar.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling you're going to see a little bit of difference between this border czar and the last border czar, and just making it known now that since I have seen that actually in the press announcement it says czar,
Yeah.
that we will not back off on that in the future.
Right.
And run, I'm not a czar, just in charge. I'm not a czar, just the leader. I'm a czar, not a czar. Now, if you're not familiar with Tom Homan, former immigration official, let's go back. I don't know how far back this is. I don't know. I'm not sure how
much. Early this year?
No. It's a couple of years ago. With
his testimony
with AOC, the back and forth with AOC. All right, here we go. Just if you're not familiar with who he is, here he is. Okay.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If
parents.
I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo...
She didn't know where to go.
Okay. Okay, that's a response. But there was another time, didn't he testify sometime this year? Or no, maybe it was an interview or he made a statement somewhere else. But Homan doesn't, it's very direct. This is a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. Think about all of the Border Patrol agents that I've known over the years, spending so much time in my younger years. Aren't all my years my younger years?
Yeah.
It's like, isn't every photo, this is me in the past. Well, no, every photo was you in the past, technically. But in my younger years, spending a time in Del Rio and so many of my friends and new friends that I've met along the way that became border agents. And, you think about the work being done. I mean, it just seems like to me, and I say this to friends that do that job, it just seems like that impossible job. And then they talk about, here's where we have made progress. Here's where, we believe, because it would seem like you're just a rat in a wheel not getting anywhere. And with Homan, you understand what he understands, and that is the mission. And if you don't understand, give him a few seconds and he'll tell you what the mission is for the border. And it has to be very, very clear. We have let this DEI type mindset, you must believe everybody, you must believe, and we must give everybody the equal chance. And nope, the border laws don't work that way, and they were never intended to work that way. I don't know which children belong to which adults, and there's really no way to vet that process, which is why the process for coming here legally takes so long. Vetting in a proper way should take time. It's unfortunate for the people who want to come here and then eventually become Americans, if that's what they choose. I welcome that. That's great. Well, it starts with a very long process. It takes work. It's not supposed to be, yeah, I'm claiming asylum. Okay, see you later. And that's really what, it's gone from border patrol to border processing. That's what the BP stands for now. Okay, there you go. Keep going. Everybody keep moving. And that's exactly what the Democratic Party and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have wanted all along. That's it. And the president has a mandate. I think one of the biggest items on that, I don't think, I know, because the polls showed us. There's two major things here. Return the buying power to American families and seal the borders. Everything else is I think, going to hopefully play out. You're also going to have, I'm waiting to hear, who the Attorney General might be, and what you do with the rot in the DOJ. But
that's the panic that you saw since we were last here. That's a panic that you saw, whether it was the EPA, the DOJ, the FBI, because that's where. And I saw Scott Jennings. We had the Scott Jennings cut. He talked about it. We talked about it for the longest time. Mm-hmm. The rot has to go. Yeah. How you do it, I don't know.
Right.
I don't believe it's ever been done to this extent in modern American history.
Right.
But we have not had what we have had. Look, everyone knew. The intelligence agencies, the FBI, everybody knew that Russia collusion was a hoax, and they knew it early on.
Yep.
And they kept it going for 3 years to help to destroy the first term of President Trump.
Right.
It's completely false. It was created by the Democrats, and it was hidden by the intelligence agencies. The Democrats in the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, who just got elected. Mm-hmm. That's what California wants.
Yep.
California wants somebody who will lie to you about what the intelligence said about Donald Trump.
Yep. What was it over Steve Garvey? Roughly 60-40, something like that.
Yep. That's what the people of California want. That people of California, the majority of the voters in California, want the rot to continue. They want a corrupt federal government. They want a corrupt state government.
Yep. I got a couple of messages. One of them, you guys are very thoughtful, but why not? There are people hurting from this election and blah, blah, blah. And why not offer the solutions? We've heard that before, by the way. That's usually a liberal that's doing that. We've offered the solutions. In fact, it's what we do, and we've done it pretty well over the last 20 years. And I invite you to go back and listen to as far back as the archives will go.
We talked about this. I don't understand. What were they saying again?
It was accusing us of gloating and making fun of the liberal media reaction. By the way, the liberal media reaction is on them, and it deserves mocking. It deserves mocking for a long time. In fact, it's part of what sent Americans to the polls in a huge way. I'm not going to try and console her voters either. I don't need to do that. If you voted and you had your head in the sand, then you chose to do that. You elected to keep this insanity, including inflation and a broken border going.
Well,
I owe those people nothing. If they're going through something, that's on them.
I'm glad you brought that up and used the word insanity, because when I was looking at, just this past weekend, and we'll get to the CNN, you see the CNN back and forth, where the one guy was saying, look, how the transgender thing killed. He said, look, a girl can't be a boy. You're transphobic. You're transphobic. It all started again. I'm like, wow, they're doubling down on it.
Yep.
They've got nowhere to go.
Yep.
Look, you ought to be worried not about us actually playing the insane reaction. I'll tell you what we're mocking. We're mocking the insane reaction to people who are promoting insane ideas. I'm sorry, but
they got us to this point. And had she won?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? They've been very clear. They want to come after your children.
And it's bizarrely hilarious because it's so insane.
Yeah.
Insanity can be funny.
I'm going to mock them all day long. I love finding the funny in anything, and their funny rises to the top. In fact, I do very little but laugh. They are the ones who are creating the mocking moment. They've become a parody of themselves.
The only thing I think we mocked the other day was the women saying that they're not going to have sex.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sorry, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
And it was pointed out by many conservatives. Oh, good. Then if celibacy is really a great way to go to stop abortion. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's funny.
Well, getting pregnant, and there are ways to prevent if it's consensual between both parties. There's a way to prevent getting pregnant in the first place. I mean, and if one of them is not sleeping with Trump supporters, something tells me you weren't in the first place.
I know that. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, that's the thing. I'm a liberal. I'm not going to treat. Well, most of them are saying any men.
All right. Okay.
Any men. They're not going to sleep with
what's
any
it
men.
called? B2 movement? B4 movement?
B4. Right.
Movement? Yeah, okay. All right,
sorry.
That's fine. If that's the choice you want to make in your life?
Other than that, I don't think we've really hit. Well, we're going to hit some things today because there's just absolutely the Democrats trying to figure out whose fault. Obama. No, it's Pelosi. No, it's that you believe in insane ideas.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'll go out of my way to find those reactions that deserve mocking.
Yeah, but those deserve mocking.
Yep.
We're not going to sleep with any men anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the liberal media and everything else, and then Jimmy Kimmel crying,
yeah,
calling Trump a snowflake, and a couple of minutes later he's in tears. Yeah. If the election, if you have that much disdain for one person that it drives you to that emotional state, I encourage you to seek help. And I'm not saying that lightly.
Well, instead of worried about how, because we make humor about everything, and we've done it our entire talk radio careers. Humor's always been a part of our show, and part of that has to do with mocking stupid ideas.
And by the way, I mock John Boehner endlessly, and I'll do that all day long, too. We don't like messing. Yeah, we know. Why don't you go work for the tobacco company, which is exactly what he did, the first job he had when he left Congress.
Exactly. So I think you ought to be more worried about the party that you support and the insane ideas that your party supports, and either join, go into public office yourself, do something in a constructive, way to promote the ideas that aren't insane unless you believe. But if the person who wrote you believes in the insane ideas of the Democrats, then there is no hope. I will mock them too, because you mock complete idiocy. And whether it's the radical transgender movement, whether it's the racism of identity politics that exists out there, whether it's the insanity of the Democrats not having a clue about how the world really works. They don't know about physics. They don't know chemistry. They don't know electricity. They don't know the sciences. And they're throwing stuff out there. Okay, we could run the whole grid on solar and wind. Yeah, that kind of stupidity is hilarious.
And I'm going to say this, too, for the people that might be hurting. Well, I'll say this. Any effect of the election is not on me. In fact, coddling individuals is what got us here in the first place. Trying to cater to everybody is what gets you here. Instead, what I would say, and this is very serious, stand up and fight with the rest of us. Stand up and get us back to where we were. Because where we were was a much better situation, and it was nothing that would have you on the floor crying. If your disdain for one person has you on the floor crying, I can't help you. Maybe somebody can. But I'm not looking to coddle anybody who has been negatively affected by this election because of one man.
Well, and the other thing is, Donald Trump on the issues is a moderate.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
The insanity we see on the left is exactly what it is. Insanity.
That's our actual one of our greatest concerns in the past has been in his second term. Would there be things that, and there will be some moves, maybe, if it's anything like the first term, that we disagree with. I'm not going to coddle Donald Trump either.
We got a great show ahead. 866-90 Red Eye.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Cold temperatures and water can lead to only one outcome, and ice has no place in a truck's air system. That's why it's crucial to keep your air system moisture-free as the temperatures begin to drop. One of the simplest and most cost-effective ways to keep moisture out of your air system is to change your air dryer desiccant cartridge. This should be changed as recommended by the manufacturer or annually as part of your preventive maintenance routine and preparation for winter. Make sure your air system is in top condition before plunging temperatures put it to the test.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Turnout Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, which of the two depressing things do you want to start off with first? Democrats trying to explain why they lost, or fans of the Dallas Cowboys trying to explain why they're in the situation that they're in?
Well, since we're fresh off the Sunday night football, then, yeah, let's go with Cowboys. Why not? Man, the whole thing with Dak and surgery and, that's always bad news. When they say surgery, to me, look, you and I have, been around, a lot of people have been around professional athletes, but football players, if you've ever seen them after they retire and how some of them walk and some of them do fine, but others, you can see the damage. I mean, it just looks painful to move. And anytime you're in the heat of your career, which I would say Dak Prescott, based on his latest contract, is, the word surgery just, I just hate. Everybody hates to see that for any athlete, not just a member of, for me, not just a quarterback for the Cowboys.
I actually didn't want to talk about the Cowboys. I just wanted to harass you on it a little bit.
Well, here's what the Cowboys need to do. There needs to be a change in coaches, which means Jerry Jones needs to step down as coach.
Well, you know what the biggest game of the next week is?
What's that?
Kansas City and the Bills.
Oh, all right.
Kansas City hasn't lost. They're 9-0.
Oh, okay. All right. And I haven't been following along, but all right.
Oh, yeah, they almost lost. They blocked a field goal. A chip shot. Denver almost beat them. Yeah. I didn't watch any of the games. I'll watch the highlights afterwards. I've hardly seen anything this year. I did watch some hockey this weekend.
I see push notifications from
that's what
WFAA here in Dallas on my app, on their app, and that's all I get. That's how I get all my Cowboys updates, basically. I haven't had time in years to sit down for a game, and apparently now there are many better things that I can do, like count the grass blades in my yard.
Twiddling your thumbs?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we've got so much to talk about, though. I mean, what's going to happen in the Senate leadership race. You notice how Trump's staying out of it. You saw Elon Musk got involved in it, though.
Yeah.
And they're pushing Scott for it. We'll get to we will get to that. Tom Homan, now the border czar, plus just the insanity of Democrats trying to figure out what went wrong.
Yeah,
what went wrong?
Right.
Well, duh.
Yeah.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Turnout Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. What was your one observation from this election about one of the political
Which ones?
pundits out there?
Oh, about Frank Luntz?
Yeah.
He does a good job. Should I say it?
Yeah, I laughed. It was funny. I wasn't expecting that when you said Frank Luntz, and I'm like, where's he going to go on this?
Lose the toupee. It's not what puts anybody over the top.
I was wondering. I was like, okay. I was like, oh.
And it's not to be mean.
No, it was just so funny.
It's just an observation. I think it's distracting. There was a moment when because it's important if he's talking to pay attention, and if you're distracted, you kind of lose what he's saying. But maybe it's just me. There was a moment when Ron and Sana back in the day from CNBC was on with Don Imus. Imus on the morning news time. It's 36 minutes after midnight. Wait a minute. We started too early. Now here's Chuck with the news. He had Ron and Sana on, and he asked him, and I think he was in the studio. He says, "Do you wear a toupee?" And Sana says, "Yeah, I do. I have for years." The following day on CNBC, the toupee was gone. It doesn't look comfortable to wear. No. Look, there are plenty of people that battle cancer that wear wigs.
Oh yeah,
and I get that all day long. In fact, I support a nonprofit organization that helps restore some of that for folks who lose their hair while they're going through treatment. On a very serious note, but for a lot of us guys who lose their hair, and I got a sizable bald spot I've had since like 13. What I think is, and if you knew how, I've got a huge head. I mean, it's really it's a huge cranium.
Only a few of our listeners understood that reference.
If you know it, you know it.
Yeah, exactly. Go on.
It's got to climb stuff to sleep on a huge pillow.
I've often said before, I don't know why all these guys worry about their hair. And I forgot who told me a long time ago, Gary, you don't even have anything close to a receding hairline and no bald spot at all.
My dad is 91.
You can say that.
My dad hasn't lost one hair. In fact, he's like, the problem now is finding time to get a haircut. For me, it's like you kind of just go with the flow. Now, my theory on my head is that my skull's actually too big for the amount of hair I have. If my skull wasn't so freaking huge, and I mean, I have to put FAA lights on it. Let's just put it that way, like radio towers.
It's not ego, it's biological.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's not. I don't mean in the proverbial sense my head is big. A little of that too, but really, my head is huge. I went to Stetson, and they were like, "There's not enough material. We don't even know that we could find enough material. Why are you here?" And if you did, then it would look like one of those huge foam hats that people wear at football games. I mean, it's probably not a good idea. Nobody would be able to see. But I do get this. I get extra work in the summer standing over people. You know the eclipse that everybody was looking at this year? That was a big deal. It happens in my neighborhood a lot. And people are like, it's a phenomenon. No, it's not. It's Eric working out in his yard. Wow. His huge head blocks the sun.
He has like moons. There's a few moons revolving around his
exactly.
head.
You know how the whole thing with Pluto, well, it's not really a planet because it's too small. It's it's not a planet anymore. And it's like, but we're thinking Eric's head could be a new number 9.
All right. It was my fault. I started it.
There you go.
I brought it.
And we like Frank Luntz.
I know.
I respect him greatly.
It was so funny the way you said
the way it fell out.
Because I was like, when you said, no, Frank Luntz, and I went like, oh, what did he say? What's happening? I didn't hear, was it on the polls? What you said? That toupee's got to go. It was just so funny because I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And it was just hilarious to me. So that was. All right, you want to hear more? I think I found the audio cut from Tom Homan that you were talking about from a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Tom Homan, who was the former head of immigration enforcement for the United States. This goes back a couple of years ago during the Biden administration. This is with Representative Jayapal here as they go back and forth. And he's trying to complete a sentence. And it's just this one. When you mentioned one, was this the one you were talking about?
I thought there was a lot of audio we played earlier this year, but
okay, I remember playing this one, because it's something that you and I've always talked about, the fact that that if I'm in front of Congress, it's the same thing in front of school boards.
Yeah,
that they're not all school boards, but many school boards, there is a sense of arrogance, like, we are the leaders instead of we are the civil servants.
Right.
And this is where this gets into here with Tom Homan and Representative Jayapal.
All right.
You were saying that. I wish somebody in Democratic leadership would say that out loud. Look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan,
Look,
please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get me go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair...
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
I've said that I don't know how many times. These are public servants. I don't care who they are.
Yeah, he wasn't working for the government at that time. He was
exactly.
He was coming as a private citizen, talking about his expertise on the on the border.
If he were in a government position, there is a little bit different. If you're talking about oversight and everything else, there's a different approach. But
so he's our new border czar.
Again, we have to get down to brass tacks on the border. There has to be a great understanding. Here's the problem: that Joe Biden sent out the message when he was running in 2020. If you were deported, we want you back. Please come back. And then what did we hear when we saw that at the bridge in Del Rio? They were saying, "Well, Biden wants us here." He told us. He actually said it. They don't have short memories. They actually were looking at it, going, "Well, this is our opportunity." And so when you create that, you send a message to the world. Remember the one very short tour the other border czar, Kamala Harris, did? And she's, don't come here. Don't come. Remember the mayor of New York? Look, Frank Sinatra was a liar. New York isn't that great. The liberals were trying. After all the buses arrived.
Yeah, but that was after he put up the billboards to get people from New York that moved to Florida to come back to New York.
Right. Exactly. and but the point is, you have this broad message to people who want to come here, and whether they're wanting to come here and make a better life or whatever it is. But then you also send a broad message to the enemy. Oh, they're going to open their borders. They're going to look at what's going on at all these crossings in Del Rio. And then you send a message to, of course, the cartels, who my friend and the former chief of Border Patrol, Raul Ortiz, pointed out, I don't know how many times, and other border agents also pointed out that you create a situation, the cartels created a huge flood at those crossings so that they could continue their activity at other points along the border. And all the agents would be busy at those crossings with the flood of people coming through. Now, I can't imagine. This is just from the observation. I can't imagine what a Homan and all the others that are now going to be tasked with fixing this, know and have to deal with. There's going to be there's one main priority, of course, and that is seal the border. But my gosh, the level of steps, there has to be a concerted effort too from the incoming administration to send the message to the world. Our borders are no longer open. We have a legal process to come through.
Trump wrote on Truth Social last night, I've known Tom for a long time. There is nobody better at policing and controlling our borders. Homan's duties will include overseeing the borders with Mexico and Canada, as well as the U.S. coastline and airspace, Trump has said. In the second week in office in 2017, Trump appointed Homan as the acting director of ICE. In November of that year, Trump nominated him to be ICE's permanent director, but the Senate never acted on his nomination. And we'll get to that here in just a little bit. You know, the fight going on over the weekend, especially if you're paying attention to social, media, whether, the leader of the Senate, or because McConnell is, getting out now.
Yeah.
They're trying to get the minority leader in there who will then become the, majority leader come January. And so it was between, Senator Thune, Cornyn, and Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And interesting that, Elon Musk came out and supported Scott. You saw that some conservatives didn't because of his support for red flag laws in Florida. But when it comes to Thune and when it comes to Cornyn, you're looking at someone who you've got to have somebody in the leadership in the Senate that wants to cut.
Yeah.
That wants to reduce the impact of government. That's a problem that you have. And Elon Musk came out, the president-elect hasn't got involved in it yet.
Right.
He hasn't got involved.
Right.
And so Elon Musk did. And you're like, okay, is it the surrogates? This is a very, very, so far, very disciplined Trump the first couple of days as president-elect.
Yeah. I think Susie Wiles is a big part of that. I suspect. I think that I do believe that he now understands that hiring somebody for a job in the private sector is much different than hiring somebody for the job in this level, the top level of the public sector. I think he fully understands now all the times he's gotten burned, by people or just made the wrong choice. He said it. He actually said that.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that, you've got to be very, very careful and be on solid ground when you make a choice for anyone he's going to nominate or put it on the staff there at the White House. So we'll see what it shapes up to be. The word over the weekend. It's a sourced report, but CNN, New York Post all had it, that Stefanik could be the choice to send to the UN for UN ambassador. Also over the weekend, Trump himself saying, yeah, Pompeo, Nikki Haley, no thanks, but no thanks. We appreciate their service, but we're going to go a different. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he was very cordial about it, but making clear they're not going to be invited back. And there are people, quite frankly, when it comes to like Susie Wiles. I mean, most people weren't aware of her until it came out, and then you realize her strengths as chief of staff. But I think there's a lot of discipline there, and I think a lot of it comes from what Trump has learned, especially over the last couple of years. But I think Susie Wiles probably has a hand in that to some extent as well.
And I found it over the weekend, and I didn't know that, and I texted you. She is Pat Summerall's daughter.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I had no idea.
I learned it from your text.
Yeah.
I was waking up, and it's like, what?
Pat Summerall, the famous sports announcer.
John, my daughter's going to work at the White House.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, some of the insane things that came out from Democrats over the weekend is that Biden should step down and let Harris finish his term. I'm making the.
I
not
joked
making this
about
up.
this, and here's this idea being floated in reality.
And
so she would be the first woman president,
right?
That's why
Sotomayor needs to resign right now.
Yeah.
So Biden can appoint a liberal Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, because they think if she doesn't make it through the Trump term, then the Republicans would have the ability to nominate another constructionist, and wow, crazy.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And here I thought, the non-woke capitalist was Alex P. Keaton, and it ended up being Mallory.
Yeah, Family Ties, for those who don't remember.
Justine Bateman.
Yeah.
What I love is, though,
whose real-life brother, Jason Bateman, supported Kamala.
Yeah. Wasn't he on the white dudes thing?
I think he was. Yeah.
God, that was so bad.
So bad. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
The white dudes for...
Yeah.
White dudes for Kamala. That was... But I like where she said, no, I'm for individual. I'm for people not, not trying to push what they believe on me. I'm against the woke stuff, but I'm not on either team. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're against what you made it clear. You're against what happened the last 4 years. I love people who take an opinion and go, but I'm not part of any group.
I don't belong. Don't put that. I'm not going to. Yeah.
Right. You may not be a member of the Republican Party, but you're agreeing with them.
Right.
And the Democrats don't want to hear that.
Right.
But it just, let's start playing some audio cuts because it's just what a zoo it has been. We'll start with NBC's Kristen Welker on yesterday on the Sunday morning news shows. Okay, here's how she began.
Right. Democrats now grappling with their stunning loss and trying to figure out what went wrong.
Had the president gotten out sooner, there may have been other candidates in the race. Kamala, I think, still would have won, but she may have been stronger, having taken her case to the public sooner.
I think people never got to know Kamala Harris during the time she was in this campaign.
If the goal is to win elections on Twitter, then you should embrace movements like defund the police. But if the goal is to win elections in the real world, where it matters, then you have to appeal to working class people of color.
The party itself has increasingly become a smarty pants, suburban, college educated party.
I take issue sometimes with people saying, oh, the quote unquote left is the reason why this is happening. The ultimate problem is our ability to clearly and forthrightly advocate for an agenda that clearly champions the working class.
Joe Biden's decision to run for president again was a catastrophic mistake.
But we can all unite in knowing that Joe Biden would have lost and deserves a lot of blame for the situation that we're in.
Democrat.
Then let's go to, this was on Fox News. You had, and we played part of her last week. She is sits on the Democratic National Committee, Finance Committee. She's a donor. She said she is not paid, though. Was not a surrogate, but she that's why she says, I can tell the truth. Wasn't being paid. nothing. I'm a donor, but she sits on the Democratic National Finance Committee. Here's what she had to say on Fox News.
I actually think President Biden, the whole endorsing her 30 minutes after he dropped out, I think that was a big FU to the party. You don't want me, here's somebody that you may not like.
Now, we're just going to stop it there because somebody said that like the day after that happened when we came on the air. You.
Yeah.
You said it.
Yeah.
You said it. And so there.
That sounded familiar.
Yeah, there's your evidence right there. Let's continue, though.
But deal with it,
Suggesting that he's sticking the party with Kamala
Kind of like
Harris.
sticking it to the man.
Yeah, but, help me understand your perspective on that, because you worked for Kamala Harris.
I didn't. I'm a donor.
You're a donor.
Technically, I'm not on anyone's payroll. I'm not beholden to anyone. That's why I'm here telling the truth. I'm not here to gaslight anybody. This is just the truth.
And what is the truth?
The truth is this is just an epic disaster. This is a $1 billion disaster. Actually, it was $1.018 billion, I think, right? There were $20 million or $18 million in debt.
Right.
It's incredible. And I raised millions of that. I have friends that I have to be accountable to and to explain what happened because I told them it was a margin of error race. I was promised, Jen O'Malley Dillon promised all of us that Harris would win. She even put videos out saying that Harris would win. I believed her. My donors believed her. And so they wrote massive checks. I feel like a lot of us were misled. And even on the night of election night, Will, I looked somebody in the eye and I said, are we going to do this? Are we going to pull it off? She told me yes. And I asked somebody else, like, how are you feeling? He's like, we're going to win Iowa. And I was like, what?
Do you think, did they believe this going in? Was there a real sense of false confidence on the side of Kamala Harris? Or did they know they were in store for disaster?
I was wondering about that. I was like, I asked them, are you privy to internal numbers that I am not seeing? Because I study this so carefully, and I just wasn't seeing any basis for that level of confidence.
It's everything that she's saying and repeating what, I've said there at the beginning is indicative of, and I think they know it now. I don't know why they weren't concerned from the beginning. It was clear to me, first of all, that Joe Biden was not to endorse anyone when Nancy said, we need to talk, like the Godfather or Godmother, I guess, and called him and said, you need to step down. And he writes the letter, or whoever wrote it for him. I'll always believe this, that the endorsement was not a part of it. Endorsing Kamala Harris wasn't part of the plan. And he came out and he endorsed her as a big middle finger to his own party, saying, you guys know she's weak. Everybody knows she's weak. And this is the way it's going to go. And it's going to look perfectly normal because, she is my Veep. And I did pick her for that position. So, when it comes to the aesthetics of it all, of course I'm endorsing her when nobody wanted her in the party to run. And then, you get to the point of her saying on election night, someone told her, we're going to win Iowa. She's saying, she's a donor. Well, first of all.
And she's a donor, but she goes after other major donors is what she was doing.
And if you're a donor, if you're putting your money in, why are you on election night asking other people questions? How are you not on sure footing when you write the check? Because if you're going to earn $1 of my money, then I'm going to do my homework. I'm doing my homework anyway, but there's no way I'm going to be on election night. Well, what do you think? And then someone tells her, we're going to win Iowa. You were at the Trump headquarters, not the Kamala headquarters. You were at the wrong place. The problem is these are people that bought into this delusional stuff. She says we were misled. No, you bought into it. You weren't misled by anything. It was with Biden knowing with that letter, the only thing he had left was his legacy The option would have been for him to say, and I believe Nancy wanted him to say, while I support Kamala Harris, my vice president, as a nominee, I encourage a healthy discussion and a process where the American people choose the nominee. Now, that would have been chaos, but it's what the party wanted. They really wanted a mini primary. I don't know how you would have worked it out, but that's what they really wanted. None of them wanted her.
Well, I find it fascinating because in the cut before you hear it's Biden's fault. It's Biden. Biden should have got out. Biden should have got out. Why should Biden have gotten out?
Right.
Why? Any Democrat out there? Why should Biden have gotten out?
You guys said he was fine.
Yeah,
everything was fine.
You all said he was fine.
Joe Scarborough, F you if you can't handle the truth.
Right. He is absolutely top of his game. You know, we don't live in the bubble of today. Democrats believe that the people of this country do.
Yeah.
And so they believe now that they can try to rewrite history.
Yeah.
Don't blame Biden.
No.
Republicans and independents were screaming, saying there's something wrong with this guy.
Yep.
And you all said there's nothing wrong with him
Exactly.
at all.
Exactly.
And it didn't matter what his polling numbers were. It was the fact that he was a disaster in that first debate.
Yep.
An absolute disaster.
Yep. And
where you could see he had cognitive decline, and they still, you think about this. We have gone through an absolutely historic presidential election.
Yeah.
All right. Historic.
Yeah.
Nothing like this has ever happened before.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Nothing has ever come. The biggest comeback ever.
Yep.
In American political history. And we know a ton of stuff about Trump. We still don't know why Biden was forced out.
Right.
We still don't know. The Democrats will not answer the question if he has cognitive problems, which is clearly why his numbers were so low.
Right.
And why it was a disaster in that debate, because the public saw it.
Right.
What the public has seen, the Democrats still refuse to admit.
Yep.
And then they blame Biden, going, well, he should have got out earlier. You were gaslighting for him.
Yep.
For 3 years.
Right. And over again.
I know. It's like
it was a battle. Nothing is wrong, nothing is wrong, nothing is wrong. Everybody knew it. And this is part of the reason why Trump won. Part of the reason. And somebody posted it too. I think I read it on the air, but it is more and more, it was the left telling you that your eyes weren't seeing what your eyes were seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was Biden and his cognitive decline, the broken border, because, you know, the border is secure. Inflation. Inflation's good. No, it's transitory. No, we mean it's going away. No, they wanted you to believe something other than what your eyes were seeing. And now we're in a situation here, just like with the lab leak theory. Who poked the hole in the dam for the left? Jon Stewart on his buddy's late night TV show, Colbert. Of all people, Jon Stewart. But after what? I don't know, how long was that? 2 years after the lab leak theory was being talked about and shut down by the left. If you were saying anything, we're going to cancel your social media. We're going to cancel your public voice. And how many times have we been in this situation where the left looks back, well, you know, it was a poorly run. Now they're looking, it was a poorly run campaign. She should have gotten out more. She should have done more interviews. Actually, she did too many. Biden should have stepped down. He should have. We've been saying this all along. They knew it. They knew Biden wasn't fit to run. And the reason they can't say that is because it would mean he's also not fit to be current president.
Right.
There's no way to have one without the other. That's not foot in the door. That's walking through the door. If you say he's not fit to run, he's not fit to be president, which is what many of us believe.
Remember the special counsel? He doesn't have the mental ability to
exactly
to stand trial.
Right.
And it was like, well, that's just stand trial. It doesn't mean anything. You defended him.
Yeah,
And everybody defended him. I don't know one Democrat that did not defend him.
Exactly.
Or came out against him. I don't know one Democrat that said, no, he's got to drop out now.
Right.
Not until that debate.
Right.
No one did.
No one. Right. But how many moments like that before the debate?
Oh, gosh.
I mean, it was... And
100?
And the left, again, well, people aren't watching that. And then everybody's watching the debate. And it's like, oh, I think everybody saw that.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's out.
866-98 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Smart owner-operators make every single week as profitable as possible. One trip is not enough time to be considered profitable or unprofitable, and an entire month may be too much time to manage. 1 week is the right amount of time to deal with efficiently. To do so, look at the advantages and disadvantages of every day of the week. Match trip length to the optimum day of the week. Plan to deliver on the day you have the best opportunity of getting a load. Your personal weekly plan will vary depending on the weekly delivery flow cycle of your region, typical length of haul, personal requirements, and other factors. What's important is to have a specific weekly plan that helps you be successful. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Well, we know why everybody is freaking on the left.
Yeah.
And it's very, very simple. This isn't complicated at all. It's not going to take a long time to explain it. It's because they've tried everything. They have nothing in their arsenal left.
Yeah.
They used every demonization tactic known to mankind. They used lawfare like we've never seen in this country before. They led this nation to be as close to a banana republic as we've seen in modern political American history. They have done everything, and none of it has worked. They don't know where to go because they've used their entire arsenal, and what the fight was about, which is the insanity of the issues, the public disagrees with them. They're panicking because they don't know where the hell to go, and so they're doubling and tripling down on the same thing. You and I always said it's really interesting with liberals. They think that if they keep screaming it louder and louder and louder and louder and louder and get more indignant and demonize you, well, we've demonized them 1,000 times.
Yeah.
One more time and it's going to work. We'll convince the people.
Right.
And it hasn't. They don't know where to go.
No, they don't.
Used everything. They've got nothing left. They have no support on the issues that they stand for. Even the people that voted for them. You saw that the one law enforcement thing, and then the prisoner proposition in California.
Yeah.
All went the conservative way.
Right.
You and I are looking at this going, so many things that these, even in California, they promoted over the last couple of years, they keep voting for people that disagree with them on the propositions that they vote for.
Yep.
And it's amazing, but that's the problem that they have. And that may be just because, it's generational. It's where you are. You've always been a Democrat. But we have seen both in Hispanics, blacks. I'll look at we've got the entire thing, too, the difference, some of the breakdowns. Trump made inroads everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere. And that scares the daylights out of them because they're like, well, how can this guy do it? The most demonized politician in American political history just smoked us.
Yeah.
And we don't know what to do. That's why they're going crazy right now.
Yep.
They don't know what to do.
They really don't.
Links to everything Red Eye on the website redeyeradioshow.com.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. And good morning. You ready for this?
What do you got?
Okay,
all right.
Let's have some fun here.
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. This is over the weekend on CNN, and this guy was a communications director for Harris.
All right.
Okay, from 2022 to 2023.
Okay.
It's Jamal. I can't think of his last name here. Here it is.
He is looking for. That is my question. I'll start with you.
Joe Biden's been a phenomenal president. He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
He would absolve her from being able to from having to oversee the January 6th transition, right, of her own defeat. And it would make sure that it would dominate the news at a point where Democrats have to learn drama and transparency and doing things that the public want to see is the time. This is the moment for us to change the entire perspective of how Democrats
Okay, this
operate.
has now jumped from an internet meme to a Sunday morning show.
Jamal's out here right now.
Congratulations.
Season of House of Cards.
I thought you were going to say, what about the Supreme Court? That's also out there.
Well, the Supreme Court might happen. I don't know if it will, but I think this is something that's...
Yeah.
Wow.
Look. Yeah. Yeah, where do you go with that? Look, I'll say this. You look back at the campaign, you look back at the Kamala Harris campaign. You look back at the behavior of the Democrats, you look back, all of this was building, and it would be highly unusual if there wasn't pushback. You've been saying at some point, Democrats have to change their tactics, which is also in the same wheelhouse as at some point the pendulum starts swinging back a little bit. Now, one of the things I would caution people on our side, on the right, about is this may not be a forever change. You and I always see it as tapping the brakes. And the reason we do is because we're old, and we've been doing this for a while, and we know on spending, on government programs, the Republicans have been successful almost 0 times in rolling back the spending. Welfare reform was another moment of just tapping the brakes. It wasn't really putting a stop to, all of the problems. And speaking of which, still nobody is talking about the national debt. Almost $36 trillion and counting. And so we have all these things. It's one thing to see this, and it is historic, and I do believe that there are some great things that could happen from it. Permanent change needs to happen, and we'll only know if this is permanent change with time. It may be. I don't have confidence that it will be. I hope to be proven wrong. And when you see the Democrats just scrambling and scrambling and scrambling, I don't really have anything to say. Your reaction to the clip we just played is actually, it's like I don't have anything I can offer except reality, and reality is what delivered the defeat to them.
Well, let's play this one again on CNN, because talking about the fact of the radical transgender movement in this country, saying a boy can be a girl, and this is I can't think of his name here at the moment. The Republican, Michael, I can't think of his last name, Singleton, who was on here, and we go right back to where he starts saying, look, basically a boy can't be a girl. And there it goes. That's transphobia.
Yeah.
Ready? Here we go.
All right.
I think there are a lot of families out there who don't believe boys should play girls' sports.
They're not boys. I'm not going to listen to transphobia at this table. I am not going to listen to you call a trans girl a boy.
Are you going to allow me to finish my explanation?
When you use a word that's a slur, I'm going to interrupt. That's not how it is. They're not boys. They're not boys. They're not playing girls' softball. I'm not going to sit there and listen to that.
Let's reset for a second, because, look, this is a really heated issue, right? And Michael, I know you. I know that you understand that people have different views on this. I think out of respect for Jay, let's try to talk about this in a way that is respectful.
Okay, so let me rephrase this, since I'm being targeted here.
I don't. Just to be clear, you are not being targeted.
I am, but it's okay.
I'm specifically saying that I know that you are not intending to be transphobic.
He should know that I'm not intending. He wants to sit here and bloviate.
I'm saying you're using a phrase
I want to give you an opportunity.
So the way regular people interpret it,
that's not regular people.
That's
not regular people. There's no consensus that these are actually boys. This whole thing about trans girls is a canard. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of the population.
That may be the
and we're
case,
using
but
that
my point in
to
terms
take
of
away
its
healthcare from
effectiveness.
thousands of people.
Hold on, just get to your point.
My point in terms of its effectiveness. Regular people with children look at these things and they say, you know what, this is a bit too far. I do not agree with this. I don't like this. I think Democrats are going way too much to the left on social issues. They're uncomfortable with it. A lot of people believe that. A lot of families believe that. You may disagree with that reality, but that's why Republicans kept running those ads over and over and over again, because they saw the metrics suggested that they were working.
In those ads.
No, they're not.
No.
He's saying they're boys.
Yep.
Sorry, scientifically they're boys.
Yep.
And this word is always used transphobic, and you and I have done this already in the past. We've gone, okay, what's the definition? What does that even mean when you're saying, sorry, you're a transphobe? What the hell does that mean?
Right.
I'm stating science. What does that mean?
Right.
Do I dislike them? What do you mean by your definition? You notice they never have to tell you what the definition is.
Right.
When was the last time somebody told you what the definition of being transphobic is? Well, so I looked up the actual from Oxford Dictionary. What does transphobic mean? Having or showing a dislike of or a strong prejudice against transgender people. Bullying is commonly underpinned by sexist, homophobic, and transphobic attitudes. I have no dislike for anybody.
Nope.
There's no dislike.
Nope.
I have no prejudice.
Nope.
I believe you have every right, if you're transgender, of every other American citizen. I have no hatred. It's simply fact.
Yeah.
If you're transgender, if you're a trans woman, you are a man. End of story.
Yep.
So I don't care what you think. Thinking and feelings have got nothing to do with it. It's pure science. And I can say that's how he should have answered. Don't apologize at all. Never apologize. You're a radical. You're trying to promote something that's anti-science. I have no prejudice. I have no prejudice against anybody.
Yeah, it's
I except I may be prejudiced against your opinion or the fact that you deny science. But other than that, I have no hatred towards anyone.
Because again, when we get to the larger picture, and you include the ideas, in fact, they were directives from the Obama administration. It was a joint edict. from the Department of Education and Department of Justice. Department of Justice was involved in it because they were warning you about violating a student's rights. And within that edict, saying this is our interpretation of Title IX, all of the qualifications for the transgenders, the transgender students in this case, were just words. In fact, didn't require a doctor or parents to even be involved. The student needed only to report to the administrators of the school. And it was very clear that what they wanted to do is undermine altogether the Civil Rights Act. And all of it falls apart when it comes to protected groups. If anyone can claim to be, can belong to, in fact, any protected group simply by saying it, then there are no protected groups. There are no protected classes, which was the entire point. And when they start saying this, well, and you were reading the Oxford Dictionary definition, this is where they get into changing the meaning of words. Well, I consider that bullying when you know, and I'm not going to get into this transphobia. They want to set it on fire and have you getting on your knees saying, oh, I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. Hell no! You're coming after my kids? I'm not going to rephrase a thing. And if you're offended, there are two things that I would say to you that matter. Diddly and squat. I don't care if you're offended.
And then when you realize the logic involved in all of it, and I do remember that it was was it Tom Cotton or Hawley? I think it was Tom Cotton that was asking the professor from Berkeley, please explain to me the whole transgender thing. And she goes, that's transphobic. What are you talking about? I'm asking you what's going on. Yeah, and if you ask it, you're going to upset people that are transgender.
Just asking the question.
Just asking the question, and then they might commit suicide because of it, because they have a much greater incident of committing suicide. That's your logic?
Right.
And then your logic is, since they might commit suicide, that minors then and inmates should be able to get not health care. This isn't health care. We're not talking about maybe, because you're admitting they've got a mental problem.
Right.
The professor was admitting you've got a mental problem.
In fact, that was a red flag for us. So what you're doing is you're going out of your way to coddle in order to not address the mental health issue here. Why wouldn't that be job number one? Job number one should always be the mental health crisis.
Right. And that wasn't a concern at all. And we're like, and so then you're advocating the children that have a mental health problem that you're saying even if I ask the question, they're more likely to commit suicide.
Yep.
This was the left's defense. This isn't our defense. We're just observing all of this.
Yeah.
And we said, well, then you really don't give a damn about the transgenders.
No.
All you care about is putting forth a particular narrative that I believe will worsen their mental health.
Right.
And the reason I'm bringing up the mental health, don't get angry at me, is because you brought it up.
Right. It's their own claim.
Right. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's our Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. So, yeah, the audio cut we played of that one Democrat operative, that's a problem that the Democrats have. And that's the problem that and we'll have more audio cuts because it's like, wow, they're all trying to figure out what went wrong.
Right.
What went wrong? You suck on the issues.
Yeah,
You're
we
insane.
know what went wrong.
You're insane on the issues.
Exactly.
Right there. And they can't let it go. And I'm telling you, the reason that they are absolutely lost is they've thrown everything. They've thrown everything at Trump, like nothing we've seen in American history. With the lawfare and the Russia collusion, the impeachments, everything that you have seen, none of it worked. And on the issues, the public thinks they're nuts.
Yeah. This is not, here's the thing. What the Democrats are really asking collectively, in my opinion, what I gather from this reaction is, come on, America, what did we do wrong? We lied to you for years. Why? We were able to, come on. We got a guy elected with the words hope and change, and they don't even mean anything. What happened? I think they're looking around going, we used to be able to just walk through, and because we say it, we're talking about the liberal transgender movement. Well, because we say so. That's offensive because we say so. And because we say it, everybody believed it. Oh, we got people to vote for it. We go back to the Gruber thing, one of the architects for Obamacare, who said the stupid American voter. We knew we could get away with it with the stupid American voter. They were able to get away with it for the longest time. Joe Biden promised everybody he was going to open the border wide while he was running for president. How did we lose this one, they're asking. Well, reality is here.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. A salute out from Red Eye Radio to all the veterans out there.
Thank you, veterans.
Yep, today we honor all those who served. Yesterday was the Marine Corps birthday.
Yeah, and happy birthday, Marines, Semper Fi. And I will, in fact, including my postman, Daniel, he and I had a great conversation. I keep him from his work far too often if I'm outside working in the yard. And the other day, he came through and we were talking about it. His brother, he served 4 years as a Marine, went into the second wave in Iraq. And his brother was a lifer and just recently retired. And Daniel's been a postman for many years now, and he said there actually are benefits where they can tie your years that you served in the military to your service at the post office. But we had a great conversation, and I was grateful. I shook his hand, said thank you again for your service. We've become friends and acquaintances, because he brings me all of my junk mail every day. And so to all the veterans out there, thank you. The fact that you would choose to serve. We probably have some in our audience maybe that were drafted at one point. My dad tells a story when he was 18, 1951. He goes into the Navy. He's on the USS Samuel N. Moore. And they're out there for a while. I think he said it was well over a month, maybe closer to 3 months. And he gets a letter from the Army, and it's a draft letter. He goes to his commanding officer, sir, what do I do about this? He says, tell him you're busy. And, but for all the veterans who have served. We can't thank you enough. We cannot thank you. It is liberty has to be preserved. It has to be earned, and it has to be preserved. And because of your service, our liberties are preserved. Now, a certain party would like to take more of those away, and we're trying to do our part to see if we can keep that from happening. But your service has always been and will always be important, and thank you.
Trying to think. I'm looking right now. I'm going back. My lottery number, and I can't remember whether because my birthday's later on in the year, whether I was 73 or 74.
Okay.
But I know my lottery number was 248 in 73, 325 in 74. So I was safe. I don't think they ever got above like 90.
Yeah,
in the lottery numbers back then. And it's funny because nobody has any idea. I mean, people growing up these days, even though they had gone, they were moving to the the volunteer army.
Yeah,
you still could have gotten drafted when I was turned 18.
I had to register for the draft.
Oh yeah,
but my dad was Air Force after getting out of the Navy for a few years. He got into the Air Force and then was part of the SP-66, which was part of the Vietnam conflict. And I was 4 years old when he went over. And I look at, the service and the people who serve. And there's an admiration, not just for their service, but also there's this common thread in the individuals who serve. And you'll see it. And it's when I like to quit moving my mouth so much and open my ears when they're talking, and you find that you learn so much about people from that. And, my conversation with Daniel the other day, just a great conversation. I really like the guy, just a great guy. But there's that common thread in individuals who serve. And they deserve better I believe, from what the VA has, I want to say provided for them, but there's so much improvement to be done with the VA. That's, by the way, an understatement. But having gone through it with a number of things with family members, not just my dad, but also two brothers, there's room for vast improvement on the VA system. And you and I have talked about that numerous times over the years, and they deserve better. But that common thread in those individuals, you see it. They just have a certain fortitude about them. They have a certain mindset about them, and I always have this great admiration for, again, not just their service, but the individuals that they are because of that quality. It's awesome to see. It really is.
And a happy Veterans Day to a pretty old veteran of World War II.
Yeah.
Still not near the top of the list, though. The oldest living World War II vet in the United States, 110 years old.
Yeah.
And my dad's 98, 98 and a half.
Yeah.
So he's
yeah.
But I'm just looking at the picture earlier. It comes up because I've saved it on Facebook, where a couple of years ago he tried putting on his old uniform and it fit.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
And I have a picture of him with the grandkids, and he put on his. I don't know who came up with that. I got to find out. I got to ask tomorrow or later on today when I talk to my dad and my sister, who came up with the idea to do so, because it looks great.
Yeah.
It's the cutest picture you could possibly ever imagine.
I love that.
So I'll have to make sure I wish it to Dad and all the veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service.
Yes,
it is really appreciated.
It is.
All right, let's head to you first. Let's head to Barbara in Baltimore. on the election overall. Barbara, welcome. You're on Red Eye Radio. Welcome to the show. Hi, Barbara.
Good morning, and thank you for taking my call. Welcome to Baltimore, WCBM. I'm just so excited to listen to you on here. I've talked to you maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I called in, but you were talking about the Democrats being delusional. I think they are delusional. They lied, and I'm black, and but I've been a Republican for 22 years. You know, I just got really adamant with Barack Obama and his lies. That's when I just really started, you know, just supporting Republicans very, very openly and fervently from that time. But I just, they've lied to their constituents, and now they're surprised. And quite frankly, I don't want to hear what they have to say. I've sent a note to my friend Sean Hannity. I love Sean. I've talked to him and to Mark Levin quite some time ago, to Mark Levin, but I don't want to hear what Democrats have to say. I don't want to hear the sound bites from especially Joe Scarborough and the rest of those idiots.
Yeah.
Republicans won. We won.
Yeah.
And I just want to hear the good ideas that are coming forth from President Trump and his administration, who's his picks. That's what I'm living for right now. I want to know everything that's going on with them. That's what's exciting to me. So,
yeah. Well, Barbara, I do remember
I'm grateful to you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say I'm just grateful to you for talking about these what's happening, and it's so relevant.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah.
what's going on is so relevant.
The only thing I would say about, you know, because I'm sure I understand, you know, we do it for a living, so we hear all the audio cuts, whether it's, you know, from Scarborough, you know, we go through all of it. I think it's important to know what the political opposition is always saying and what their strategy is, because one of the things is, you know, right now, and again, we're only a couple of days, you know, into, you know, what possibly will, you know, how the cabinet and who the president-elect Trump will appoint. But I also think it's, and I want to focus on where we're going, but understand that the attacks are going to come in. And when they come in, you want to know. I always want to know what they're thinking and what they're promoting. I want to know what their strongest argument is, because it's a constant fight. So that would be the only thing that I would say is when it comes to playing the opposite, even if it's insane, it's important to know. Like when Scarborough came out, remember when Scarborough came out and said that, you know, Biden is the best version you're ever going to get. I mean, it's important to hear that because it's important to understand, does the other side have a coherent argument, or are they completely delusional?
Right. Yeah.
They're delusional.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, and Barbara, I do remember.
And I love the way you guys make such fun of them. The way you do it, it's just wonderful. I love listening to you. That, you know, to be up at this hour.
Thank you.
Well, but you know something, it's all we have to do is.
Military.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. So go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just was going to say, and my husband's retired lieutenant colonel and a Democrat, so you can imagine. Holidays have not been very nice. They have.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I will say this,
but it's okay.
We're grateful
I'm in
for.
New York. I'm from Queens.
Yeah.
I'm from Queens. It says it all.
Well, you know, and we thank him for his service, and look, if you love him, we love him too. So we'll say this, you know, I know where you are, and we have, you know, on the I don't know. It seems to be, Barbara, this rise of, you know, this kumbaya moment and bringing people together. This really has been the election fight of our lives. I have been saying, and I still believe, that this was a real crossroads election, and
this was historic. I was an election judge.
Yeah, and
I've never seen crowds like this.
Yeah,
never in the years that I've done this.
Wow.
We've had parking lots where people could not get in.
Wow.
And I don't know. I believe that our elections here in Maryland are Well, I do my part, and what I see, it seems that, maybe they could purge some of the dead people, but other than that, we do what we do what we can here.
Well,
we do what we can, but I've never seen crowds like this. I saw people coming out in wheelchairs who had never voted before. They were being wheeled in by friends, family. It was just an unbelievable phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it was exciting for me to be a part of it. I worked 8 days of early voting.
Wow.
And I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. And I'm very proud of the fact that Black people are showing up. Yeah. We're not going to be lied to. The Hispanic people are showing up. Yep. Democrats have lost us as, I guess, we were born with a D on our heads. No more. That's over.
Well, and I think, we're at this point now. And again, I connect with the sentiment of, I'm not in this kumbaya mood. If you want to fight, then you're always welcome, and that should be obvious to everyone. If you want to fight to fix this nation's problems, the door's open, and the party is more, the Republican Party per se, is more diverse than I believe it's ever been, but it's always been that way where everybody is welcome.
Yes,
and we have plenty of conservatives of all backgrounds, and everybody is in on the same fight. We just want everybody to be in a place where all boats are rising, and that requires an economy to be great, national security to be in check, which includes the border being secure, all of these things, and also a situation where our children are protected, and we're not allowing them to
they
make.
They are coming after our children.
Exactly.
They are coming after our children.
Yeah,
and one of the things that's happened here in Maryland that I'm very excited about, some of the, county councils and school boards, that's where Republicans can continue to focus, get control of all of these different orgs that control our children, because we can't let them do what they're doing.
Right,
with
exactly.
our children.
Yep. Thank you, Barbara. We greatly appreciate the call, and we appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. It's great to hear from Barbara. Again, we thank you for your husband's service, and
I do remember her calling a while back.
Yeah,
yes, I do, because I remember being the fact that what'd she say? Not a election judge.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
Yep.
So I do remember her calling,
because we were talking about some things going on in Baltimore too.
Yeah, you're right.
So
that was the Baltimore stuff back then.
Yep. And
the riots and everything.
Right. And so thank you, Barbara. We greatly appreciate that call and your thoughts. Look, and I'm also with her. I'm interested in, the fight that's going to be now. This is where the work begins, right? The work has to be done to fix the problems. This is where you put the gloves on and go to work. You have to. And, we're all anxious to see how that's going to work, how that's going to play out. Government quite often moves very slowly. It was intended to be just that, but there are things that have to be fixed, and there's little time to fix them before the winds start blowing the other way. So thank you, Barbara. We greatly appreciate the call.
866-98 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara, just reading this from Politico. And this is something that Democrats should consider from Politico. More Democrats fear the party's image isn't just damaged, it's broken. Come on.
Yeah.
Let me find here. I want to get where is it here? Okay, here it is. This is a part of Donna Brazile talking. This would be on ABC. Okay. Sunday morning. ABC. Okay. Here we go. Chris Christie, too. Here we go.
What happened in New Jersey when Chris and I was sitting there on election night, and I'm looking at Chris like, hey, what's going on? What was going on in Minnesota? What was going on, of course, in Massachusetts and Rhode Island?
Which was Trump was doing better in all these
Trump
new places.
improved not just his numbers in the battleground, which we were talking about on election night, 3 to 4 points. He also improved in inner cities. He improved in outer suburbs. So it looks like Trump ran the 50-state strategy that the Democrats used to talk about. So we can talk about messaging. We can talk about the map. We can also talk about just, was 107 days enough? All of this should be on the table. We're going to have a lot of introspection. I want to say this, and I've lost my voice because clearly...
You've been talking a lot.
But more importantly, look, the Democratic Party, I was there 8 years ago when Donald Trump defeated Hillary Clinton. And we looked at ourselves and said, what the hell? We tried to stitch together the blue wall with Elmer's glue. We needed duct tape and a lot more. We got to do a better job of reaching the voters where they are and not try to make pretend that this was won simply because Donald Trump is a better liar.
What did she miss? They suck on the issues. They're trying to figure out what's going on. You suck on the issues.
The reason he improved everywhere is because reality doesn't have any borders.
Yeah. This whole thing, Trump ran a 50-state strategy, and we used to talk about that. We used to, shut up. I'm sorry, but it's just, don't insult the intelligence of everybody in the United States. Don't go on a national show and do that. You stunk on the issues.
And that reality, as we said, knows no boundaries.
Right.
Everybody's affected by it. Everybody's affected by inflation. Every city became a border town. What don't you see? Why are you being blind still?
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Not only do we have, and there was more of it over the weekend, the women on social media saying, nope, we're withholding sex to men. And it was just like we mocked that the other day because it's so stupid and ridiculous. We got some blowback for that, saying we should be reaching out to these people. Yeah, like you can reach out to them, like the Yale psychologist on MSNBC over the weekend that said it's essential. You should cut off Trump voters. If you're your relatives for the holidays.
Yeah,
and you go down social media and look at the number of liberals saying, "Yep, just we told our other relatives, sorry, we're not getting together for the holidays anymore.
All right,
because you voted for Trump."
Okay.
These aren't people who want to cross the line. And
nope,
we've often talked about this before. Where do you compromise?
On the issues, where's that middle ground?
Right. Where's the middle ground on the radical transgender movement, which, by the way, was the number one women's rights issue in this election?
Right.
When you promote the misogyny and the bullying of women, and you have men play sports against them, men invading their private spaces, Where's the compromise?
Where is it?
Where's the compromise?
I don't know. I'm not budging, and they're not.
Yeah. On, as we've always talked about, critical race theory, which is an extension of identity politics, judging people by groups and not individuals. I'm going to judge everybody as an individual.
Yep.
I'm not going to judge anybody by their skin color. I'm not going to judge anybody by their eye color, by their hair color, by their toupee. Okay, maybe their toupee.
I don't judge the person. Just maybe the hairpiece.
And it's that simple. There is no compromising on those issues when it comes to free speech. I'm not going to compromise on the First Amendment. I'm not going to compromise on freedom of religion. I'm not going to compromise on freedom of speech. I'm not going to compromise on freedom of assembly.
Right.
I'm not going to compromise to petition the government for a redress of grievances. I'm not going to compromise on the Second Amendment. I'm not going to compromise on our bicameral legislature, which the people have their House, which is done by the popular vote in the House, and then the Senate is so there is equal representation of every state in there. By the way, I saw on Bill Maher the kook that he had on. Everything's got to be the popular vote. Everything's got to be the popular vote, and everybody's clapping. The last poll I showed, the majority of people want popular vote to decide it until it does.
Right.
They don't even know what it means. They've never thought of it. They have no idea.
No, they don't know how any of this works.
Right. They have no idea how it works, and they're like clapping about it. They have no idea why there's a Senate. They have no idea why there's an electoral college. Because if you don't have it, you can make the case that I can make the case the majority of the geography of the United States doesn't have input.
Right.
And you want to know how you get civil wars? We've talked about this in the past. Because people are, we're going to be in a civil war tomorrow. Well, you want to know how you get into civil war? No representation. And my mind somehow thinks that somehow we might have even gotten a war because of that one. Oh, yeah. The Revolutionary War, taxation without representation.
You mean the first one?
Yeah. The first, the big one, the one that got it all started.
Yeah.
And so, it's, and so you ask, where's the compromising? And I can't compromise on those things. I'm not going to compromise on racism.
Right.
I'm not going to say, well, okay, a little bit of race. Let's judge these people all as a group.
Yeah.
What, you didn't vote this way and your skin color is that skin color? Don't you all that if your skin color is that skin color, you have to vote this way? And if you don't, then you are not genuine to your ethnicity and or skin color. What a stupid, idiotic concept. What garbage they're throwing out here in 2024.
And they proudly promote that.
I know.
That's insane.
Where's the somebody tell me where the compromise is.
You're not going to get it from the left. The left, for the longest time, thought that they had controlled. Well, it was it 2016, the summer of 2016, when they said the Republicans may never win the White House again? Was that 2016?
Yeah, it was the summer of 2016, yeah.
They kind of alluded to that during the Obama years. After Obama was elected, well, the Republicans may never get to the White House again. And they really believed that they had won forever. They got the forever win. And then you move on to social media. And changing of definitions and controlling the language. They thought, because of the advent of social media and then what we have learned now, their actual control of social media and what you could say and couldn't say, they thought they had won the conversation forever. They thought they had controlled language forever. And now they don't know what happened. They don't know what happened because they were doing, again, look, we were winning, guys. You guys were voting for us not too long ago. What happened? What happened? What happened? Reality. Wasn't there a movie, Reality Bites?
I've never seen it.
I haven't either. But it is that very, again, it doesn't, I've said the truth is the truth. Regardless, lies have to kind of change and evolve to stay alive. People have to change them. We see that all the time. Kind of have to change the story. In fact, if you know anything about investigations, part of going back and re-interviewing someone is to see if there's a break in what they're saying. Well, the truth is always the truth. It remains, whether there's daylight on it or not, is the only thing. But it will always, at some point, it will always be the truth and almost always rises to the surface, sometimes too late. But reality is a lot like that. Reality really is the truth, real life of what we're dealing with day to day. So when the border is broken, when crime is on the rise, when inflation hits and high prices don't go away, they don't come back down, that kind of reality changes you in a big way. And, you know, we'll add to it the big, heavy-handed, massive over-response to COVID. That was a game changer. Keep in mind, November of 2020, people, not just Joe Biden, a lot of people were still hiding in their basement. Yeah, Joe Biden was running for president from the basement, but a lot of people were still living in, I mean, we had not broken from a lot of the rules surrounding COVID. The left absolutely loved that and took full advantage of it. We're here to save you. We're here to save your life. Turns out they were lying all along. Gee, who would have thought that? I'm shocked. And now, did I sound genuine? And now you have a situation where reality, because of their over-response, because of all of their policies combined, shakes the fundamental core of individuals in terms of our instinct for survival. A broken border, that has you concerned for your family. Higher crime, that certainly has you concerned for your family. Being able to afford a roof over your head and groceries, that has you greatly concerned for your family. The left doesn't care about any of it. It's the lies that they tell that have to keep changing to stay alive in order to win elections. Reality doesn't care who's running for president, doesn't care about anything. It's just reality.
Yeah.
And you're the one that is on the front line for Donna Brazile or anybody else. The ground game was run by reality, not Donald Trump, not the Democrats, not anybody else. The ground game was at work every day, beating not on the doors, beating on the kitchen table and inside the homes of individuals every single day. It didn't go away and still hasn't. It's yet to be fixed. And we're in a situation now. That's why I believed all along this was a crossroads election. We can't stop now. There's work to be done. I have no time to coddle anybody, to make a kumbaya moment, or to find middle ground. We're fighting to fix this for everybody. Everybody's welcome to join in and should be concerned for the fight, too. If they're not, I can't make them concerned. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them vote.
Let me, I want to play this here. This is part of the discussion because you're talking about, the people suffering because of inflation. Listen to this here on MSNBC. Here we go.
There's this sense, right, that whiteness, right, is under threat. The demographic shifts. The country isn't what all of these racially ambiguous children on Cheerios commercials are confusing the hell out of me.
Eddie, a lot of people voted because their life's too damn expensive, and it was here, and
they voted for. You're telling me, Stephanie, that all of these people who believe that their lives are, that bread is too high and eggs are too high, that they voted for a convicted felon, a guy who said we can grab the pea.
I think that a lot
they
of
voted for this guy.
I'm not defending it, but I think there are tons of people that don't pay attention to, and I'm not defending it, don't pay attention to politics at all. But while we live in the most prosperous country in the world, people are saying life's not fair, I'm not doing well, my son's still living in the basement, I can't seem to get a job, I don't like the status quo, I'm voting for something else, and he was the person.
I love you to life,
I love you,
but I do not believe that. I cannot believe that.
Of course he can't. I don't know who he is, but obviously he's trying to promote racism across the board.
Right.
That it had to be racism. It had to be. I won't believe it. I won't.
Yeah.
Fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Fine. And you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish last week. The View did. He did. I don't know. He's a professor. They don't say what his name is here. They don't have a crawl on it. But when you've now called black men now are misogynist and Hispanics are racist and misogynist.
Yeah.
And sexist.
Right.
Well, okay. That sort of takes anything that was said by a comedian at a rally for Trump.
Yeah.
Sort of lessens that a little bit, doesn't it?
Yep, it does. And
in a joke.
Well, but
they're being serious. Yeah.
But the thing is that this is another example of having the ultimate or extreme argument. You shout for climate change, the world is ending. You lose an election, and it's racism, racism, racism. The worst of thoughts is what you want to build in people's minds.
Eddie Glaude, Princeton University professor.
Okay.
That's who that was.
And the left has been doing this for a long time. It's part of the fear-mongering that they thought was going to win again.
But the elitism is it can't be. It cannot be prices.
Yeah.
It can't be. It must be racism.
Again, the left, and I said it earlier, but another example of your eyes don't see your checkbook in this case. Nobody writes checks. Your bank account doesn't see what reality is. You're just too stupid to see it. It's not inflation.
866-98 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Coming up following the top of the hour, these liberal women are so furious about Trump's victory. No, this isn't the sex thing where they're going to withhold sex.
Oh.
This isn't their sexuality narcissism. I'm not going to give any man sex. I can't believe that people were upset about us saying that the other day. Like, you think those type of people that are going to withhold sex are the type of people that we could convince that we're correct on our side?
I'm sure
that
they
we
are.
Shouldn't be mocking that?
I'm sure they are.
Come on. Well, wait till this one takes
now that they're going to be celibate, they'll have more time.
This next one takes it to even a more bizarre level.
Okay.
Wait till you hear this one.
All right.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, we are Red Eye Radio. I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley.
Hello.
You ready for this one?
Sure.
Here's the headline. Women furious about Trump's win start the Matka movement. M-A-T-G-A. Matka movement. Not MAGA. Matka. Which glorifies poisoning men. This is from the New York Post. Are you ready for this one?
Okay.
Women online have been taking to filming ghoulish murder fantasy videos in which they romanticize lacing men's beverages with deadly poisons as a justifiable response to fears about abortion rights under a second Trump presidency. Many of the videos have been viewed millions of times on X or TikTok and feature young women grinning as They put a substance in a cup of tea or other drink with an unknown substance. Some of the women have dubbed the videos part of the Make Aqua Tofana Great Again, or the MATCA movement, a nod both to President-elect Donald Trump's MAGA campaign and the ancient serial killer Tofana, who was a 17th century Italian woman who sold poison to wives who wished to dispatch their abusive husbands, resulting in the deaths of more than 600 men. One of the online clips shows a young lady with green hair, a backwards camo hat, and a large spiked ring with the text Aqua Tofana isn't that hard to make, superimposed over footage of her making a throat-slitting gesture with her thumb. Many of the videos include a portion of the Eminem song Venom in the background, featuring the lyrics, "This blanking world would better prepare to get laced because they're going to taste my venom." Now, because we are mocking this, and we were mildly criticized by some people for criticizing the women who have said that they are and mocking them, who are no longer going to give sex to men.
Right.
Do you feel that this is an opportunity that you and I can talk softly to these women and encourage them over to our side, Eric?
I only have one that I'm concerned about. I'm married, so you guys are on your own. Good luck.
No,
And
I don't mean that. I mean converting them to our politics.
Oh,
Of
you
the
mean
criticism.
the political side,
Right? Because
I'm still trying to convert my wife to my
okay.
side, and we've been
Right.
married for decades. I'm still working on it. Now, politically, we're on the same side.
Well, this is the response you told me, that you got some criticism for what we were talking about Friday, which was mocking the women.
Yeah.
And we had a few a few listeners who said, no, instead of mocking them, we should be using this as an opportunity to encourage them to come over to our side.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yes.
So
can we encourage these women
Yeah.
to come over to ours? Maybe have a cup of tea with them or something.
I would say here's where I will do the olive branch. Okay? Don't murder anybody. It's illegal. And also frowned upon. But talking about a lab leak theory would have you kicked off of social media.
Right.
Implying you should poison someone for the way they vote goes viral. I don't know. I'm a bit confused. I don't know how the TikTok thing works exactly. What you're saying is there's a camera involved? Really?
I'm not familiar with your modern
it's
cavemen talk hosts.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar
yeah.
with your TikTok social media.
Also, if it's gotten that bad where you think that your disagreement, politically, your political disagreement requires you to murder someone. If you've actually entertained that idea in any serious form, quite frankly, you're probably already a potential murderer.
Well, this goes back to what we talked about before. When you continually, year in and year out, because remember, the Hitler thing has been going on since, 2002, 2003?
Yeah. Oh, easy. Yeah.
2002, 2003?
Right.
With Bush?
Yeah.
So it's been over 20 years that any Republican president or any Republican leader that they have, especially every Republican president or nominee, has been called Hitler. when you continue over a 2-decade period to call the opposition leaders Hitler, which implies they are willing to commit a genocide of millions of people, should you be surprised that this is the reaction that you get?
Right.
From these people who clearly are not well. I mean, my God, some of the... I agree with you. I think some are fake.
I think a lot of what you're seeing in these viral videos, I think these people making these videos, I think it's fake. They're trying to be the train wreck.
Yeah, and they want the hits.
Yeah, and they're getting them.
Right. But I believe some are real.
I believe, as I told you during the break, I believe a number of them are real.
Right.
And so I can't tell you which is which and who is who, but this idea of, floating this idea, well, maybe you just... Yeah. I saw that episode of that show on A&E. It is really indicative of, again, this radical mentality. It's radical on every level. If this is accurate and true, and this person isn't faking this, that's about as radical as it gets.
Well, there's a number of it's not one. It's more than one.
Well, I saw the one video, and then it went viral, so I don't know if these are copycats or, but it originated with one person. So if it's accurate and true, well, I would say to your point, everybody that engaged in it, you're floating this idea that, again, look at the other side. A lab leak theory, we're shutting you down.
Yeah.
and now this isn't even, it's not even, if you're a stand-up comedian on stage, I can compartmentalize it. But in this way, when something goes viral, not so much. This is radical thought. But if you don't value life to begin with, and you really feel this way, for you it's not so radical because it's exactly how you feel and who you are as a person, which is to my earlier point. That if you're already thinking this, you're probably already prone to thinking this anyway on a number of things I have to wonder about.
Well, for 20 years, and we said this a long time ago, the danger, you're not saying that somebody is immoral or unethical.
Right.
You're saying when you call somebody Hitler that, or Mussolini or who else did they throw in? Lenin.
Right.
That you're talking about people that have, committed genocide.
Well, Dick Durbin, comparing the service members at Guantanamo to Pol Pot.
Yeah, exactly. Which, of course, is ridiculous. But when you do it year in and year out, some people are going to believe you. Because they're not saying that you're immoral and you might steal from someone or you may wish to borrow less money for the budget.
Right.
The allegation is you have committed acts that would indicate to me that you would kill, you would execute, you would commit a genocide of millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that Hitler means. There is no second definition for Hitler.
Nope. And this whole thing with Matka.
Matka, yes,
is insanely radical.
Yeah, it's not going to be around long, by the way. I don't think.
No, it won't be. Well, again, and anyone who even jokingly floats this idea, you don't get why she lost, do you? You don't get why the left lost. You have no clue as to what's going on right now. I mean, they really don't. They don't. For the longest time, they've been completely unable to read the room. And right now, the room is shouting, and you're in it. and you still can't hear it.
Yeah, and we have more audio coming up because it's just the most bizarre thing ever. And you know, the story I saw the other day that, which I'm just going, wow, the story that the Harris campaign paid Oprah $1 million. That's just one example of the millions of campaign money spent on various entertainers during the vice president's failed bid for the president. Has Oprah come out and commented on this? Because the one thing I wonder, look, you can pay. I always thought that entertainers, if you were part of a campaign, I didn't know they were paying you millions of dollars to perform or hundreds of. I thought you basically got expenses paid and you were endorsing them.
That's what I thought. It had to come from the heart, right?
Right. I always assumed it came from the heart. Hey, I want to endorse you, whatever. Okay, fine. We'll pay your expenses. Come on, do a couple of songs, bring the band. We'll cover the hotel and everything else. I didn't think there'd be pay because then that's a paid endorsement, is it not?
In my mind, that's a paid endorsement. It should be, there should be full clarification. And on that, anytime that any of that is talked about or shown.
Yeah, well, and then the Oprah Winfrey town hall.
Mm-hmm.
That's a town hall.
Yeah.
That's a news program.
There should be a disclosure.
Doesn't that not just a disclosure on, in the accounting paperwork for the Federal Elections Commission?
No,
but the actual
broadcast.
This broadcast.
That's my point. Yeah.
This broadcast has been, these are paid. The person, Oprah, whatever.
Right.
She is a paid surrogate.
Yep. On a lawyer's ad, you see paid actor.
Right. Exactly.
Well, especially in something like this, there should be full disclosure there. So people know what they're looking at.
Because the question I would have, because remember, she eventually endorsed her.
Yeah. Right.
So was that endorsement a real endorsement or was that a paid endorsement?
Exactly.
Of the product. And here's the question. Would Oprah only endorse her or do the town hall for $1 million?
Right. She wouldn't do it for free. By the way, why would we think otherwise? Oprah's a billionaire.
Yeah.
She didn't do this out of her own heart, even if they came to her, hey, we'll pay you for your time. No. No, you can pay the producers that have to be here. You can pay the people that have to be here. You're not paying me. I'm doing this because I believe in what you're doing.
Right.
Apparently not. And does she believe it? If you're paid to be there in that situation.
Well, I mean, it's Harpo Productions. It's a production company.
Right. Yeah.
And
that's
so,
her.
I mean, that's like paying, NBC wanted to interview me, so I paid the NBC.
Right.
I didn't pay the person interviewing me, but I paid the entire staff.
Right.
Well, sorry, no, they're a production company, too. They produce content.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
On an interview like this,
right,
you're just looking for an audience.
Mm-hmm.
But if the politician pays you, then it's not an endorsement.
Right.
Or it's not a legitimate news program in any way.
Right.
Or a town
now,
hall.
If Harpo and Oprah, that's what Harpo actually is, Oprah backwards. Harpo Productions and Oprah did it for free, would that be a gift in kind? All you would need there, again, is disclosure. It's a gift in kind to the campaign?
No, because it's a town hall. You're asking questions. People that come in and ask questions, and she's just, doing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no difference between her and NBC doing it,
mm-hmm.
or ABC, whatever.
Right.
They're a production company, and they're putting it on some type of platform, and boom. So it's the paid endorsement part of it. It's the $1 million.
Right.
Wow. And I haven't seen anybody bring that up yet.
No, I haven't seen it.
That's the first question I had.
Right.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. Once a roadside inspection is completed, the officer will close it out, which involves the officer writing or typing up the report. The more the officer found during the inspection, the longer this will take. If violations were discovered, most officers, as a courtesy, will explain the violations to the driver. If there were any out-of-service violations, the officer will normally explain what must be done to get the out-of-service order lifted. Drivers need to be very attentive during this part of the inspection. The driver also needs to read and understand the complete inspection report. After receiving the inspection report, the driver has 24 hours to get the roadside inspection report to the motor carrier. If the driver will not be returning to a company facility within the next 24 hours, the driver needs to know to get it on the way to you via email, mail, or fax within 24 hours. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'll have to check on the actual election law there because I haven't seen anybody. I've read a couple of articles on it. Nowhere does it say Republicans are saying, wait a minute, hold it. That's an in-kind, whatever. What do you call it?
Gift in kind, donation in kind.
Yeah, donation, gift in kind, whatever. But that's just, it's so weird. I mean, that $1 million was paid to Harpo Productions, Oprah's production company, to do that town hall meeting.
Right.
And nobody knew it at the time that it was broadcast. Now, I know it's not YouTube paying for it, but it's still, to me, is where you talk about the personal endorsement.
Well, and, in terms of the FEC rules or even any laws, aside from that, there's a conflict of interest. There should be a disclosure. We paid for this. The campaign spent money on this. And I could see the reply being, well, it's implied. Actually, it's not. When you say town hall, then we compartmentalize that as a news event.
Yes. Yeah.
And, with the networks and even the cable networks, they are news organizations, and they also own the real estate. With Oprah, she doesn't own YouTube yet, but she's doing all the production to put it out there. Yet. But she's doing all the production, and now we're finding out she's getting paid. Why would there be no disclosure on that?
Observing and analyzing the insanity. Eric Harley and Gary McNamara. Nightly on Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose.
Thank you.
So download it and listen.
Yes.
Do it.
All right.
Because we care. You ready for this?
Go ahead.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Media talk. I want to play this because this it's actually funny. This is the professor and election prognosticator who was I forgot what it was, like 9 out of the last 10 times or something like this.
Yeah.
He's run right in calling the election. And Alan Lichtman, this is about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He picks that Harris is going to win based on all the statistics and variables out there. Harris is going to win.
All right.
Now, you and I have looked at it, and if you listen to the show, we never saw that.
No.
We didn't see that. I don't make a prediction because I look at what's out there and say, okay, based on this, based on this, based on this, based on this, based on the most accurate polls of 2020, which ended up being the most accurate polls of 2024.
Yeah.
If those are right, he wins. And they were right, and he won.
Right.
And it's no great, it's no great. Wasn't sitting there going, all right, we were right. He won, because I wasn't guessing. This wasn't like, who's going to win the Super Bowl? I have no idea who's going to win. And then the guy screaming at you in the pregame show, doggone it, Baltimore's going to win, and they're going to win 20-17. You're insane. They're going to win 22-17. And they freak out back and forth. It's like they have no clue.
Right.
That's why you play the game.
I can tell you the Cowboys probably aren't going to win. But aside from that.
Okay, you probably have a great argument there. But Alan Lichtman came out, he goes, nope, this is how I see it. She's going to win. Well, he was wrong.
Yeah, right.
So who does he blame? Gets on CNN, blames Elon Musk. Because everything changed. The election changed because of so much disinformation from Elon Musk.
Oh.
So in the 2 to 3 weeks that he made it, it was a disinformation. He had called it correctly, but it was the disinformation.
And the keys, because the keys depend upon a rational, pragmatic electorate deciding based on governance whether the incumbent party should get 4 more years. And we've seen the explosion of some trends that have existed before, but not to this extent. Disinformation. Elon Musk is, I don't know how many hundreds of billions he has. He has been the director of misinformation. 2 billion views of his spreading of disinformation, not just about the economy, but about immigrants, about minorities. We've never seen disinformation at this scale. Next, we have never seen to this scale the agitation of 3 trends that have been very deeply embedded in American history: misogyny, racism, and xenophobia. The first anti-immigrant law was 1798, and Donald Trump wants to revive it. And
he's so full of manure.
Yeah.
He's making stuff up. That is a professor saying that is actually the definition of PhD.
Yeah, it is.
He is actually piling it higher and deeper. Seriously. What a lightweight.
Yeah.
I mean, that was so you got it wrong. You're completely clueless of how to read this election, and you didn't pay attention to the pollsters that were actually accurate. You wished that she would win, but nothing showed that she was going to win.
Right.
Nothing. I don't know what they were looking at that showed that.
I don't know how you look at the collective polls and saw the momentum going for him, which, by the way, started before she was even in it, and saw all the data, and also historically applied the fact that you had a rise in crime, a broken border, and you had the economy the way it is, especially with inflation. And she's the incumbent, effectively, and part of, as people see it, the cause of it. She is the cause. She and her boss, Biden, and their party are the cause of all these broken items. How do you not see him winning?
What I love about all this is, you and I do this for a living, and we look for audio cuts all the time. What do we and every other conservative look for? And you can find it on X. You can see, you can make an analysis of what do conservatives and Republicans look for.
Right.
Now, the Democrats are absolutely paranoid about disinformation coming from the other side. And what do they talk about doing? You need to censor it. You need to hide it.
Right.
That's what the Democrats do. What do Republicans and conservatives do when they spot disinformation coming from the Democrats and the left? They publicize the hell out of it. They don't censor it. They publicize the hell out of it. We publicize the hell out of their lies. We don't sit there and say, we're not going to play it because it's disinformation, because we don't think you're an idiot.
Right.
They think you're idiots. By the way, Lichtman's getting those crazy eyes. He's got these staring eyes. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's just, what a lightweight, for God's sakes. You blew it.
Yeah.
You were wishing, instead of actually applying what needed to be applied here, and as we said before, we simply looked at it and said, you have these issues here. where reality have now actually hit the hypothetical of the blue wall.
Right.
And the hypothetical, the blue wall, hit reality, and it went boom, because people knew the border wasn't secure. People knew inflation came from the Biden administration. Boom. They knew it.
Yep.
People knew defund the police, and that entire concept came from the Democratic Party, and they had to deal with that, especially inside of Democrat-run cities across the country. And then the most accurate pollsters, as we kept saying over and over again, it's the only thing that we could go on, and we said, hey, look, they could be wrong. But what we stated was over and over again, by those issues and the fact that reality is hitting, and that the most accurate pollsters of 2016 and 2020, but we were just using 2020 because it was most recent. And we even went back to 2016 because we looked at 2020 and said COVID could have been a anomaly in there.
Right.
And we said, nope, by this, if these are all accurate, Trump wins.
Yep.
Wasn't hard to figure out. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that out.
Well, and, again, you come up with the new, first of all, excuses as to why you were wrong. Yeah, that's what you hear in this. But what do? You take on the big bad billionaire that got involved. The other big bad billionaire that got involved. That approach, there's misinformation and misinformation. Tell us, you should, if you're going to do that, have at least, have a point. Have at least the three top lies that were told, and prove that they were lies. If you're saying misinformation, this is misinformation. They keep using that word misinformation. Yet they never stand up and tell you what they lied about. We will tell you. If we say somebody lies, we'll tell you why. We'll tell you why it's a lie.
Well, the reason we do that is because we want to get what the opposition actually says and find out whether it's accurate or not. And the same with the party that I more agree with. Same thing. If they don't tell you the truth, I'm going to tell you on a particular issue if they don't do it.
Right.
On some economic issues, I'm sure we're going to have all-out war maybe sometime next year with the Republicans if we feel they're not being totally accurate or totally truthful on certain economic things, the debt maybe, who knows, taxes, tariffs, whatever, we'll see. But we have no problem calling out the right. We've done it for the longest time if we believe they're not telling you the truth. Right. But what we found out, and this is something that Democrats can't figure out, they want to censor the other side. Do they want to censor the other side because it's misinformation, or they believe it's believable and will convert people not to vote for them? The reason that the Republicans and conservatives on social media, you'll see it, anything comes out, they play everything. They want to play everything that Karine Jean-Pierre says. They want to play everything that Biden says. Harris says something, they want it on tape. They're promoting it.
Yep.
Every conservative media outlet is playing everything that the Democrats are saying. They're giving it much more publicity than the original publicity that it might have been given.
Right.
Why? Because they know they can point out the misinformation and they can convert people to say, okay, you're right, that is a lie. Maybe I should consider your point of view.
Right.
That's why you do it. Only people that are afraid of the truth want to censor. That's why the Democrats and Alan Lichtman want to censor.
Yep.
That's why they want to censor.
Well,
and
it's the John Kerry, Hillary Clinton. How many times have we heard it just recently? In the last few weeks before the election, what were we hearing more and more? John Kerry basically said the First Amendment is getting in the way of our agenda.
Yep.
So they use words like misinformation. All they have to do is say misinformation according to their standards, and it's misinformation. But you heard John Kerry say it out loud. The First Amendment gets in the way of our agenda. It blocks us from carrying out our agenda. If we can just, because we look at Elon Musk as someone who came in and kicked the door open on free speech on social media. That's what I look at Elon Musk as. And he's the first to tell you, because he doesn't, even if he posts something, you can go in and the users can challenge anything that he posts.
Oh, yeah.
He said on Rogan recently, I'm not putting that protection in for me or anybody else. He's been asked by a number of parties, well, don't allow that on my page. Nope, it's allowed on his own page, and he owns the place. So he doesn't appear to be afraid of any of it. And he said it. By the way, he said this on Rogan's podcast. Tell me where I'm wrong. You can't. Thanks for listening.
Well,
Elon.
he's up late he's up late at night.
Well,
that's why him and Trump get along. They never sleep.
Exactly. And he said, and that's the approach. And he said also, we've said this over the years, you don't have to believe us. The truth is, you can find the truth on your own. You don't have to believe what we're saying, which is why we know it's important to tell the truth, because we'll get called out in a heartbeat.
So I would ask anybody on the left, ask yourself the question, why do you wish to censor, yet the other side wishes to promote what you believe? They don't want to hide it.
Right.
They want to make sure they amplify everything that you say, everything that Harris said, any of her surrogates. It was amplified by the right. They wanted it out there.
Yep.
The left wishes to censor. The right says, nope, we can beat your argument. Give us your best, and we'll promote it, and we'll defeat it.
Yep.
That's the way it's supposed to run in a free society, when you're exchanging the free flow and exchange of ideas.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. And I know you heard the call over the weekend for Justice Sotomayor from Democrats to retire.
Yeah.
Before Trump takes over, so they can have their addition to the Supreme Court. Wall Street Journal reporting, despite calls from some liberal activists for Sotomayor to step down while the Democrats can fill her seat before political power changes hands in January. She has no plans to retire from the Supreme Court, people close to the justice have said. So just so you know, on this day, November 11th, we reported this at 3:55 a.m. Central Time.
Mm-hmm.
Justice Sotomayor becomes an oppressor.
Yeah. And she'll continue to get the heat up until January 20th. Oh, and well, probably beyond that. You could have stepped, just like Biden. You could have stepped down earlier, Sotomayor. You could have stepped down while Biden was still. It's not going to happen. By the way, she's only 70. Guys, calm down. She's only 70. But, they want, I don't know, someone who's much younger, much more liberal, if there is such a thing.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.